Good afternoon, Soho Parish. I hope everyone's doing well. Today I'm just going to read you a story. I'm going to read you one of my favourite stories from when I was a little girl called Amanda's Butterfly. And if you look inside, you can see that it says Rosie's book, October 1992, which was when I was only 4 years old, so the same age that children are in reception now. Here we go. One sunny morning, I woke up before anybody else in the house. I sat up in bed and read a story to my friends. It was a story about a butterfly. The story gave me an idea. I decided to catch a butterfly. All I needed was my butterfly net. I wonder if any of you have ever tried to catch butterflies before. It's quite tricky. Out in the garden, I looked for a butterfly amongst the flowers. You have to move slowly with butterflies. They hide if you're too twitchy. I think I must have twitched by the chrysanthemums. Chrysanthemums are a type of flower. I decided to look in a patch of long grass and poppies at the end of the garden. Suddenly the sun went in, the sky filled with clouds, and it started to rain. The rain got heavier. I thought I'd better take shelter. Can you see where she took shelter? You might not have one of these if you don't have a garden. We'll find out on the next page. I sat in the shed and waited. I watched the rain splashing on the windowsill and in the puddles on the path. It went on and on. Maybe you can make some rain with your fingers and kind of hear some noises that you might hear in the rain and the puddles. Maybe splash or splosh. Suddenly, a little box of screws fell onto the bench next to me. It made me jump. What made it fall? Then I knew. Behind the box, I could see the tip of a beautiful wing. Very slowly, I reached out for my butterfly net. I wonder what it is. Do you think it's a butterfly? Could be. But as I pulled away the box, I got a big surprise. It wasn't a butterfly, it was a fairy. A real fairy. A really real fairy. How exciting. You can see how surprised Amanda is. The fairy looked upset. She had torn her wing on some thorns. She couldn't fly, and because she couldn't fly, she couldn't get back home. I knew I must help the fairy, but I didn't know how. I told her not to worry. My dad's good at mending things. He nailed the door back on my doll's house yesterday. Perhaps... No, that wasn't a good idea. I looked for something else in one of the drawers under the bench. No, I didn't think these were going to be much help. But there was something else at the bottom of the drawer. I tugged hard at whatever it was. Oops! Whatever it was jerked out of the drawer and knocked the poor fairy to the bench. I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is? The fairy wasn't hurt, just a bit dizzy. She felt lovely in my hand, and so I picked her up and put her back on the bench. We were both fed up. We couldn't think what to do. Then I had an idea. Yes, a brilliant idea. I wonder what Amanda's idea is. I ran back to the house as fast as I could, and the rain was still pouring down. I had to get something from the desk in the sitting room. I was glad there was no one around. I didn't want anyone to see me. They might start asking awkward questions. I ran back down the path to the shed. My hair was soaked. This will do the trick, I told the fairy, and I showed her a big roll of sellotape. Did you guess right? I told her to keep very still. Carefully, I bit off a little piece of sellotape and stuck it over the tear in her wing. There, it worked. The fairy was delighted. The wing looked as good as new. But would she be able to fly again? There was only one way to find out. Yes, she could fly! Hooray! She flew around the light 3 times and then floated back down to the bench. The fairy was very happy, and so was I. And it had stopped raining. We crept out of the shed. It was very bright outside, and the sun had come out again, and the path was steaming in the sunshine. It was time to say goodbye. The fairy floated gently up to the sky. "Goodbye, fairy," I called. "I hope I'll see you again." I really, really do. And I thought, because it's quite a nice sunny spring day, we could make our own butterfly. I'm going to make one now, and then you can have a go at home.